Hey guys, and happy Video Monday. Teshia here. For this week's video, I want to talk to you about sugar because I get so many questions and I hear from so many clients that sugar seems to be their kryptonite and seems to be the thing, or the cravings are the thing that is getting in the way of their achieving their goals. And more than anything, I want you to achieve your goals. I want you to feel good in your body, in your skin. And for a lot of people, they feel like there's a force bigger than them that's getting in the way of that. So let's talk about sugar. There are so many reasons that you could be dealing with sugar cravings. This may be something that you've been struggling with for a year, 2 years, 10 years. And again, there's so many reasons. With regards to everything as it relates to nutrition, you really truly have to become a diet detective. You have to really pay attention to your own body and the different messages it sends you. You have to tune in and figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. Not what's working for your mother or your sister or the person on YouTube who you follow. It has to work for you. So this can take a little bit of detective work. And this is something that if you are open to it, I could help with, or you could hire another nutritionist that you trust, a coach, someone to help you get into the details of your diet and your patterns and your behaviors and your schedule to figure out why this might be occurring for you. So the detective work is key, but if you just want some things to think about so that you can start to figure it out on your own, I've made a list. I just sat down right before filming this and thought, what are all the reasons that I would consider when someone comes to me with this? So here's the list, all right? And I have my own strategies for figuring out which of this is with my clients, but again, this is a good solid place. And some of these things you'll probably be like, no, that's not me, that doesn't apply to me. And others you might be like, I never thought of that. And that's what I'm hoping that this does for you. So number one, sometimes sugar cravings can be caused because people are choosing to eat carbohydrates, refined specifically carbohydrates and sugar at breakfast. Or even if you just had a really unbalanced breakfast of just carbohydrates, even if they were good carbohydrates, that could be part of the problem. So when we first wake up in the morning, we're in a fasted state. And if we eat just carbohydrates on their own, it's really going to have an effect on your insulin response. And if you spike your blood sugar first thing in the morning, you are more likely to crave sugar the rest of your day. And this really, I have noticed with myself. So you might find that you feel better keeping your carbohydrates very low glycemic in the morning. So for example, having just like a half a cup of berries or, a quarter cup of steel cut oats. But you want to have those with protein, fat, etc. You may even find that you feel better going without the carbohydrate altogether. So having just some healthy fats and proteins. One of my go-to breakfasts, as weird as it may sound, is like 2 tablespoons of almond butter with a bunch of raw veggies. I know that sounds weird, but it's hydrating. It stabilizes my blood sugar and it gives me just enough protein and fat to get me going. With again, not having that effect of making me want more sugar. If I have like a protein shake with a bunch of fruit in the morning, I feel like I'm craving sugar all day long. If I wake up in the morning and I have a big bowl of like oatmeal, I would be craving sugar all day long. So again, you gotta be a diet detective with yourself, but this could be one reason. So take a look at what your go-to breakfast is and make sure it's balanced. The next thing is skipping breakfast. Now, I am not the kind of nutritionist that sits down with my clients and says, you must eat breakfast. Not at all. I am all about finding what is going to work for that person. And if I just applied a one-size-fits-all approach to each person, whatever I came up with would never work. Whatever the plan is has to feel good for you. There can't be resistance to any of the things that you're setting out to do, or again, it's not going to work. So, for some people, skipping breakfast can trigger sugar cravings throughout the rest of the day. Some people actually find they have less sugar cravings if they skip breakfast, right? So, you have to, again, experiment. It's trial and error. You have to try each thing with yourself, take note, do 3 days of each and notice the difference in yourself. If you skip breakfast, do you crave more sugar after dinner? Or if you eat breakfast, do you feel like you're just eating more all day long? Okay? The next thing is meal frequency, which kind of applies to what I was just talking about. So some people find that eating more frequently, like 6 meals a day, makes them hungrier. Other people find that, eating less makes them hungrier. So again, you have to see. My general observation, again, I say general, with most of my clients has been that for people who are really, really active, 2 meals a day often doesn't cut it. They usually do better having, at least 4 little or medium-sized meals versus just 2 meals or 3 meals. That's not always the case, but it often is. If you are an active person who feels best just eating 2 times a day, then in that case, you're going to want to just make sure that those meals are bigger, okay? If you're eating only twice a day, the amount of calories that you're likely to take in is less than if you were to eat 6 times a day. So meal frequency matters. Pay attention to what works for you. 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 2 meals, 3. The next thing I have here was hormones. This is huge. So hormones can have a huge impact on your blood sugar levels and therefore your tendency to crave or not crave. Hormones, like the hormone estrogen, also can have the effect of making you crave sugar when it surges during certain times of the menstrual cycle, etc. So hormones, PMS, if you have a specific hormone condition like PCOS, where your blood sugar is often high, your insulin levels are high, you're going to crave more sugar. Thyroid and adrenal issues and imbalances can also cause this. So again, looking at your hormones and your hormonal balance is huge when it comes to, again, sugar cravings. The next thing I want to address was your workout. So if you are working out too intensely, like if you're doing crazy CrossFit workouts and you're not necessarily a big eater, for example, you are likely going to have sugar cravings. When you do intense workouts, you are burning through your glycogen stores, and this will often cause the body to scream for more sugar. I find for me, there's a sweet spot with the exercise. If I go too hard, it seems to cause too much of a stress response, which throws my cortisol and my other hormones a little bit into disarray, and then I crave sugar. I assume that's one reason it happens for me, and I think the other reason is just simply that I burn too much of my stores, of my glycogen stores, my food fuel stores, and so therefore I'm hungrier, and my body's just wanting me to eat and eat and eat. And I hate that feeling. That uncontrollable hunger feeling is not my thing. So I, these days especially, make sure that I push myself, but not too hard. So take a look at your workout if none of these other things I've mentioned so far are feeling like they could apply to you. The third last, this is quite the list, I know, thing that I have here is not eating right for your metabolism. So as we age, our metabolism changes, our metabolism slows. If you're eating more food than your body needs, and especially if you're eating more carbohydrates than what your particular metabolism can handle, you could experience high blood sugar levels and therefore crave sugar more. Now, honestly, each of these things could honestly be a video in and of itself, and maybe I'll keep this list and refer to it at times because there's so much more I could say about each of these things. But your metabolism does influence the amount to a certain degree of carbohydrate that you're likely going to be able to handle without having crazy blood sugars. That's at least my opinion and my belief based on everything that I've learned. Yeast overgrowth, candida, these types of things can also cause cravings for sugar. So with regards to that, you got to balance your gut microbiome, and you've got to balance your good and bad bacteria in your system. So your beneficial and unbeneficial bacteria. Again, another entire video in itself, but that's another thing to consider. Okay, I've got two more. Another one just occurred to me. If you are experiencing a serotonin or dopamine deficiency, so a deficiency in the neurotransmitters in your brain, that could cause sugar cravings too, because carbohydrates help produce serotonin, which makes us feel good. And additionally, dopamine, which is the hormone that kind of is responsible for motivation and also energy, that is influenced also by sugar intake. So when you eat something that's like really sugary, it like hits the dopamine center in your brain, which makes you feel fantastic. And that also converts to serotonin. So keeping this in mind, if you are somebody who experiences depression, especially in the winter, you may experience more sugar cravings in the winter, and you're wondering why, and that's probably because of these neurotransmitters and a deficiency perhaps in them. All of these things can pretty much be tested as well, so that you can really be sure if you're wondering. The last thing I want to mention, possible reason for your sugar craving, food intolerance, specifically something like gluten or dairy. These two foods tend to cause cravings for people who are sensitive/intolerant to them. So if you think that's you and you've had crazy sugar cravings for so long, take a look at those two things and consider doing a period of elimination where you take them out of your diet and observe what happens. If your sugar cravings go away, well, that may have been a part of this. So I know that was a lot. If you have any questions or you would really like to hear more about any of those things I mentioned, post your comment below or email me through my website, info@teshiamahar.com, or you can Facebook message me through my website or my Facebook page, which I actually just changed, and it's just now my website, so it's just teshiamahar.com on Facebook. So yeah, keep in touch, guys. Let me know what you want to hear about in the coming weeks. I am now living in the Middle East, and I have a lot more time to work on my videos and my business. So there's going to be lots of cool stuff coming your way, and some yoga videos as well, which I know so many of you have been wanting. So please stay tuned. And thanks as always for your interest in learning from me. It's a pleasure. Have a great day, guys. Have a great week, and happy Monday. Bye.